Well, hello. I saw a very good thing in the Jewish press about how one can learn the entire Torah by learning the Rambam. Let's take a look at this. Here is the Rambam, the Sefer Hamitzvos, that the Rambam wrote. Let's take a look. Learn the entire Torah. Learn Rambam. This past Sunday, Jews worldwide celebrated a milestone siyum, marking the conclusion of the 40th Rambam study cycle. By learning 3 chapters per day, one completes the Rambam's entire Mishneh Torah in slightly less than a year. If one learns 1 chapter a day, it takes around 3 years. Thousands of Jews throughout the world follow this daily study regimen in one of these 2 tracks, as instituted by the Rebbe. The 40th cycle of the 3-chapter track began last 17th of Tammuz and concluded on this Gimel Tammuz. 40, in other words, the 17th of Tammuz of last year, and concluded on the Gimel Tammuz of this year. 40 is a very significant number in Jewish thought. After 40 years, says the Gemara, Avodah Zarah 5b, Koi inush adate de Rebbe. A student can begin to understand the depth of his Rebbe's teachings. The Rebbe's Rambam campaign is intended for every single Jew. The Rebbe designed it with 3 tracks to cater to each person. The flagship 3 chapters a day and 1 chapter a day for those who would have trouble keeping up with 3 chapters. The Rebbe also asked that women and children follow along on their own track of studying every day from the Sefer Hamitzvos, in which the Rambam explains one of the 613 mitzvos. It is difficult for anyone to presume to know the reason behind the Rebbe's campaign. It is not for us to decide why the Rebbe did what he did, but the Rebbe told us that all our actions should be dedicated toward one purpose, bringing Mashiach. Therefore, we can understand the Rambam campaign vis-a-vis Mashiach. It is to prepare the entire world for the coming of Mashiach through united Torah study. The Rebbe explained that when everyone studies the same Torah material on the same day, it achieves a wondrous unity that transcends the division between people, countries, and continents. The Rebbe also explained that by learning and completing the Rambam's work, one discharges the obligation upon every Jew to study the entire Torah. So if one learns and completes the Rambam's work, one fulfills the obligation to study the entire Torah. The Rambam includes all the laws of Torah, even those not relevant during exile, and therefore omitted from Shulchan Aruch. Thus, learning the entire Rambam is considered learning the entire Torah. On the Rambam's tombstone there is an expression, "From Moshe to Moshe, no one has arisen like Moshe." Though we don't know who wrote that inscription, it was accepted by Gedolei Yisrael, and it has a special truth. The obvious question is, what does it mean? Amongst all the generations in between, including the Nevi'im and Tanaim, were there none as great as Moshe until the Rambam? After all, the Rambam based his work on the works preceding him. Furthermore, it is not the Jewish way to compare Torah giants as to who was greater. So in other words, the Rambam, he based his works on the Rebbeim that preceded him, the Nevi'im and the Rebbeim. So couldn't they also be as great as Moshe Rabbeinu? And also, anyway, it is not the Jewish way to compare Torah giants as to who was greater. I once heard an explanation that this saying is not meant to measure greatness. Rather, it concerns who wrote the entire Torah. The Gemara Bava Basra 14b to 15a goes through the works of the Nevi'im and details who wrote each one. So in Baba Basra 14b to 15a, it says who wrote which of the Nevi'im. No one person throughout the generations wrote the entire Torah. Each one wrote a portion. Quote, his book, sometimes more, but not the entire Torah. The only one to write the entire Torah ever since Moshe was the Rambam. Anyone who learns Rambam all the way through, and women and children who learn through the Sefer Hamitzvos, are actually completing the entire Torah. It's a shleimus, a wholeness. The Rebbe spoke about shleimus in 3 areas. Shleimus ha'am, the wholeness of the Jewish people, ensuring that a Jew is only one who was born to a Jewish mother or underwent halachic conversion. Shleimus ha'aretz, the wholeness of the land of Israel, not to give away or negotiate any part of the land. And shleimus ha'Torah, exemplified by learning Rambam. Through the shleimus in all of these 3 areas, we will merit the geula ha'amitis, v'hashalema, the true and complete redemption through Mashiach speedily in our very own days. This is challenged by Rabbi Shmuel Buttman, and this is learn the entire Torah, learn Rambam, and this is the Sefer Hamitzvos of the Rambam. Over here, that's in Hebrew, and we can get it in English or translate it into English. This is the Torah. The Rambam is explaining all of the mitzvos of the Torah. So anyway, this is very good news. Learn the entire Torah. Learn Rambam. And here is the Sefer Hamitzvos, which we can learn. Okay, thank you. Zait Matzliach. Have much success. Take care.